We would like to recognize our, come on up, student liaison to the Board of Education, Miss Addison Negabar. She's been the student liaison since February, I think, of last year. And she's done a wonderful job. What we love about Addison is that she brings great energy to the room, obviously. It's a little scary because you're not ever sure what she's going to say, but you can bet she's going to be honest, and we just love her. We are going to miss her, and we appreciate all that you've done for our student body and to give them your perspective. They appreciate that. But there's a little thank you card and a certificate.
Thank you.
Do we need a picture?
Addison would like to say a few things.
Oh, she would. Okay.
She would.
First report. HOSA completed their blood drive with 58 successful.
You're just gonna get yours done, okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna get it out.
Can we amend the agenda?
Or is this like speech time? What is
Go
this?
ahead.
What am I doing?
Just saying how
report
you
or am I
appreciate
doing my
being here.
Oh, okay, my speech, my spiel. Okay. So all of you know, tonight is my last night as your student liaison. When Miss Munson asked me to be student liaison, I'm pretty sure I said, "What's that?" I can now proudly say a student liaison is someone who listens and then speaks. The student who is probably too involved, or maybe that's the whole point. This role has pushed me out of my comfort zone. I talk to people I never thought that I would. I have learned how to appreciate other people and realize how many of our students and teachers work late nights to receive such little praise. This role has taught me how to honor and respect. I have had a whole new view on high school, as the student who sits quietly in the back could be doing something so amazing, but students don't know, and maybe even the teachers don't know either. I have learned that you don't learn through a textbook, website, or newsletter, but you learn through talking to people. My dad once told me that most people just want someone to listen to them. I used to be someone who only wanted to talk, but now I listen. My role includes talking to the board, and that's what Ms. Munson told me before taking on this position. But what I have found is in order to talk, you have to listen first. So I thank each board member for working on your own time with nothing in return for us students, for hearing the rude comments but keeping your focus on the students and staff. I thank the teachers and staff for showing up to these meetings and fighting for their kids, and I thank the students for all their accomplishments. This has been a great learning experience for me, and thank you for this opportunity. I say thank you.
I don't think you can lead us in your pledge.
What am I doing?
Pledge.
Oh, I'm doing the pledge?
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we need a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
So moved. Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any staff or patron comments on agenda items? Old business, job descriptions.
Two were presented last month, paraprofessional and bus driver. So those will be up.
Motion to approve those. Second.
Any questions?
I just wanted to add on each time we present those, they'll be attached with the personnel that are currently holding those positions.
And I was just going to ask, they all meet those requirements, right? The current staff that we have.
Meet the requirements of the job description?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
They were hired, but they weren't hired under this job description, so I say yes.
Okay.
We built it based on our expectation of the position.
Okay.
So, yes.
All right, Charlie, you motion, Dustin second, those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
If there's any change to the requirement and it changes current hiring, I'll let you know as we move through the process if there's any change in that. We can do any of those.
Transportation pay rate.
So I brought this to your guys' attention, maybe last month or the month before, as we get close to January 1st. There's one area that does not meet the requirement for the $15 an hour and that is going to be for our minimum sub-trip pay. And so I would recommend that that be moved from $14.10 an hour to $15. I know there were some conversations regarding that. I did follow up with you guys. I'd be glad to talk a little bit more about that if you have any questions. I think when you think about increasing that a little bit, you start to get into a kind of a teeter-totter with other transportation bus driving positions. This position in itself is a little bit different than like a route driver or a substitute for a route driver. In fact, because those drivers, when they go, for example, if they take a group to St. Louis, they're going to be paid for every hour that they're there. And they may not be driving the entire time, but they're paid for the duration of the trip. And so I think when on the onset of that, and that's pretty typical across the board that you see that. And then the other side of it is talking with our transportation director. If you start bumping that up, then what you find is a discrepancy or a disparity between what a sub would make in that situation versus what drivers make. And so trying to keep all of that in balance is why I would recommend staying there at $15 an hour. I do have the other rates for any other driving position. If you guys would like to get any questions on any of that, I'd be glad to field those.
I make the motion for the transportation pay rate.
Second.
Any other questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? 24-25 audit.
This is just the single audit supplemental page that Mike Catlett talked about last time that was completed after our last meeting. This had to do with the OMB finalizing a certain section of compliance, and so that's ready for approval.
Move to approve the federal program order. Second.
Any questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? New business, we need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
B7.
I would start with any of the buildings. So each year we want to make sure that we're approving the building school improvement plans. We started doing this last year, bringing those. We've had DSIPs for a long time. We started approving those one time per year last year. And so the building principals are going to go through just some highlights. They typically don't change a ton because the duration of them are several years. But I've asked them to highlight a few things from their building. And if you have any questions, they're here to answer those.
All right. As you know, we try to build our BSIPs from the CSIP, but we also look at other important parts of our pieces of data to see what we're missing. And so one of our big changes that we made this year, a goal that we added, was about attendance. And we've really been trying the last 2 years to focus on that 90-90 requirement that from DESE. 90% of our students need to be here 90% of the time. And so it doesn't, your overall average isn't necessarily what your focus needs to be. It's those students that fall below that. How can we help that group of students be here more often? And so we have a team from the high school that has revamped our attendance goal this year, and you'll find the pages aren't numbered. I apologize for that. But our BSIP strategy, our plan is to increase the percentage of students with 90% or higher attendance from the current baseline to at least 95% as measured by monthly attendance reports in Infinite Campus. And as you know, you get from the high school board report, you can see our overall attendance rate each month, but also that proportional attendance. And this year, right now, we're holding strong, but we also thought at the end of last year that we were fine. We were at 92% in May for that proportional attendance. So we thought we were going to be fine with the APR. And then by the time that DESE took out some students that we can't count who had decent attendance, we fell below that 90%. And those are all things that we've learned just within the last month or two since our APR data was released. And so, keeping that in mind, we're not okay with 92%. So we'd really like to have that proportional attendance up around 94, 95 as a buffer for those students that do get pulled that we may not realize are going to get pulled. Will still be okay. And obviously we know that students are going to perform better, they're going to learn better, they're going to be more successful if they're here more often. And so we've really tried to make a concerted effort on getting those students here. So we're identifying, we're running a report every 3 weeks. When we do our grade checks every 3 weeks, we're now also doing an attendance check at that same time. And those students that fall below that 90% is getting a phone call, getting a check-in. Some of them have regular check-ins every single day. We have staff members that if that student doesn't check in with them when they walk in the door, they're getting a phone call immediately. We also, we've had SRO Davis go to the house and wake a student up a few times even and get him here. So we're really trying to be more intentional on identifying those at risk for attendance students and putting some more effort into those. So we have that going on. We have, we're also doing monthly incentives. This year we're doing battle of class points, which students are really motivated about battle of classes. They're competitive by nature, and so this year instead of just doing battle of classes that one day, they are able to accumulate points all year. And so they're allowed to accumulate points by attendance. And so each month we are identifying the classes that, the class that had the best attendance overall, they're getting battle of class points. Then starting this next month, we're actually going to identify the top 5 in each class for attendance, and then the top 5 that made improvement for growth. So our top 5, and then the top 5 for growth as well. So we're not only looking at that tier 3, but we're also honoring those that are here. And so we're trying some different efforts to improve that. Just more intentional. With that group of, I think the identifying that group every 3 weeks has been very helpful already. Do you have any questions about any of the other goals?
So we've been getting an email once a week about attendance.
Yep.
Has attendance fallen off? Or are we close to that 90 or 92% right now, or is?
And you'll see my board report right now, we're at 94% for proportional. So compared to last year at this time, we're at least 2 points higher. We've seen some improvement with, I don't know if that's, we can make some assumptions of why, but we definitely have seen some improvement so far up to this point, but.
What percent do they fall, if they fall below, what percent of attendance do they fail the class?
That's if they miss more than 7 days in that hour. So if they miss more than 7 days, then on that 8th day, they lose credit for that class.
Do you know what percent that is? Is that more than 90 or less than 90?
That is going to be less than 90. That's why we changed our attendance policy to instead of 8 days, it's 7 days, because they're not here as many days due to our new modified calendar. So if they were allowed to miss 8 days like last year, that would put them under 90%. So that was the whole reason we had proposed to you guys to change that to 7 days rather than 8, so that if they miss they're allowed, they're still above the 90%. But if they miss more than that, and there's always confusion about Saturday school. We get our students here if they've missed more than that 7 to make up hours for Saturday school, but that's only to earn that credit back. It doesn't change the percentage, and I think sometimes that's confusing when they fall below that 90% and can't go to prom, for instance, because that's in the policy that they said, well, I came to all these Saturday schools. Well, that doesn't change your percentage of attendance. That just earns your credit back. And so just really building capacity on what all of that means and how it works is important as well, and we've tried to do a better job of that this year as well. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lynn.
Okay, you have a copy of the middle school's BSIP. Just to touch on a few things, our focus area 1A is the effective teaching and learning. Our goal is the school system provides a comprehensive multi-tiered system of support
This is not just for academics, but it's also for the emotional and behavioral things. I've talked to you guys before about our EIS program. Mr. Rawlings has really knocked it out of the park this year with so far being in the classrooms, offering coping skills. The kids are checking in with him, they're checking in with other teachers and stuff. So the difference in just the relationships between the kids who often kind of seclude themselves has made a world of a difference with that. So one of our new action steps down there is the piloting of the second step program that he was offered there, and he's been working on that, and they do an after school counseling session, and that's actually been pretty well attended. So I give him credit for that one, for moving forward and really taking the time with our kids to support them. So another highlight that I wanted to go over. Upside down. On focus area 3, that is our leadership goal. The middle school building will continuously enhance skills and abilities to foster an environment of success and growth for everyone involved. Sometimes we only focus on our students, and we kind of put our staff to the side. So we have a goal there to we have a motivation team made up of some of our building leadership team that they have a monthly lunch meeting. I cover their lunch duties, and they meet together to go over instructional strategies that they're trying and sharing, things that's going on in their classrooms, just kind of that camaraderie to discuss and maybe vent a little and things. But and then they provide me with feedback with some things that maybe your staff wouldn't feel like they need to come to you about or something, but it's becoming a struggle with them. So Tori and Micah are the head of that, and then so there's some other team members. So trying to focus on our culture and build more positivity in our building. So, does anybody have any questions on any of the other goals?
Thank you. Okay, for the elementary BSIP, we removed our EIS goal. We didn't remove it from what we do every day. We just removed it from our plan. It's been a focus for the last couple of years. It will still be addressed. We're just going to do that either by class or by grade level internally within the building. We have 2 academic-based goals. We divided them into 2 sections. One of them is about growth. One of them is about performance. And we wanted to separate our goals out by grade level so we can track our trends and our strengths and weaknesses, so we know where to focus in terms of interventions. And then our third goal is for our reading plans, which is required to be addressed in our CSIP. We've got 3 years of data on our reading plans. It's very inconsistent, so for us, we really want to find a stabilization point at 10% or below. Anybody have any questions?
Thank you, sir.
I need a motion to accept these.
Yes, please.
So I make the motion to accept all 3 building improvement plans.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Job descriptions, food service director.
Yep, those are going to be the next 2 on the slate for us to review. If you guys have any thoughts on that, either tonight or throughout the month, let me know and we'll sure address it.
Budget amendment.
All right, this is our first budget amendment of the year. I provided this to you guys. It's quite a bit to look at, but hopefully I've provided you kind of a clear summary of the amendment and try to summarize it as well. In your packet, you've got the budget summary. You've got an expense and revenue breakdown by object code, and then you have our operating trajectory. We've looked at that just over the years, and that kind of helps us kind of gauge our overall kind of health of the district in terms of fund balance, and so that kind of gives you the temperature gauge after we make our amendment. I just want to summarize just a couple different points on the revenue side. As far as local revenue, our local revenues increased approximately $67,000 due to the anticipation of stronger than expected local collections and adjustments in local sources. So we did increase there. County revenue decreased, which was really unusual looking back at, I mean, all the data that I have on our, at least what I've been collecting going back 5-8 years. I haven't seen this trend, but in terms of our county fines and forfeitures, we actually went down. We actually reached out to the county to make sure that wasn't a mistake, and it wasn't a mistake. They were just down this year, so that was really an isolated change in county revenue as far as decrease. State revenue adjusted upward based on the DESI calculations, the formula and transportation adjustments. I would say generally, if we looked at one contributing factor as far as revenues go, our early childhood special education payment from last year, they separate those out as far as Part B, $177,000 just did not get deposited into our account until after June 30th, and so that just makes a world of difference when that hits a different school year, and so that was one adjustment we made in this amendment. So those are going to be your local revenues. Jumping into federal revenues, we just modified to align with current program activity and reimbursement pacing. So anything as far as federal programs, we just adjusted those. Nothing major from that perspective. Same thing with grants. Any grants that we would have received, we made the adjustments in the budget amendment. So that's for the revenue side. Jumping over to the expenditure side, we had, I would consider a minor increase to staffing. So after we have our budget, we make adjustments to staffing. Again, just to remind you, we are part of the co-op that just is all lumped into this, and so any change that we have is a part of that. So we did make those corrections to additional personnel. I would just add, it's not any new person, like new positions. We had a small increase there, and then the benefits that come along with that was also increased consistently. Purchase service, you can see increased just a little bit, do some grant adjustments. Supplies increased, that would be mainly because of the CT enhancement grant adjustments, but any sort of newly award revenue, it's got to be on the expenditure side somewhere, so typically you find that in the purchase service or supply categories. Overall, the impact, we both revenues and expenditures increased just modestly. When we did our budget back in June, we were projecting that the fund balance would be 21.37%, and based on this budget amendment, it's jumped up just slightly to 23%. So that's good, a good indication. Hopefully we'll continue to trend a little bit depending on what happens the rest of the year. I've said this before, I'd really like to be around that anywhere between 24 and 26%, just kind of an unwritten goal for me. And so we're getting a little bit closer there. One thing I would just kind of bring to your attention, it's important to note some of the changes. When you look over to the summary page, you can see like total revenue and the total expenditures increasing. Just to remind you, when we're talking about our fund balance and operational expenses, it does not take into consideration Fund 4. So as changes in Fund 4 happens, for example, limited access grant, of upwards of $800,000, it doesn't impact that operational side. Generally, for the most part, it's all in Fund 4. So just kind of keep that in mind. So that's kind of a quick summary, and then you've got the summary sheet that breaks it down, revenue, expenditure, and just kind of describes the amendment. I'd be glad to field any questions on any of that. My hope is to have another budget amendment maybe in March or April on the onset of the new budget year, and so again, I'd be glad to field any questions.
Does this include like the matching our part of the matching for the grants, is
Yep.
that included in this also?
Yep, that's all in there.
Okay.
Yep.
All the grants,
All the grants are included in there.
okay.
Yep. Yes.
Not the one for the auto mechanic, so yeah, right. We're still
It is projected in here, yes.
It is
It's
in there
projected
also.
in here, yes. The only one that's not projected in here, because is the newly awarded grant, safety grant for the technology they will receive. So that's not in here, so you'll see that in budget amendment too. You know, when you go through a budget amendment, there's a point where you just gotta stop and land the plane, and so that will hit the next budget amendment, we kind of earmark what that's gonna look like.
Wasn't that zero?
It is, but you'll see it on the revenue side and expenditure side equally.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no local match, but we'll still wanna reflect it here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you were talking earlier, when we done the budget, you said that we was gonna have a shortfall.
Correct.
Okay, is that gonna be corrected now?
So right now, we're sitting, if you look at the last page on operating trajectory, when we initially approved our budget, we were projecting a little over $200,000 in deficit spending.
Yes.
And we don't want to do that very often. Our fund balance to support that. But right now with this budget projection, we are sitting just, I mean, I would call it kind of a balanced budget. It shows 58,000 to the good. And so we kind of crossed back over that threshold. Yes. I mean, not much, but not deficit
Better than
spending.
deficits.
Right. The other thing I would kind of just bring to your attention is, and we've kind of known this would happen as we look at our Fund 4 balance. Right now, we're projected with the Fund 4 balance being below $1 million. It's going to be around just almost $900,000 in Fund 4 at the end of this year. So that's something to continue to watch in terms of the projects that we want to do and the things we want to do. Our Fund 4 is projected to be around that $857,000.
And you said there would be no transfers into that for this year.
Right now, we're not, so right now, we are not projecting. Now, I think whenever budget amendment 2 comes and we end the year, my goal is to make to transfer some, to take advantage of our transfer. We did not take advantage of any transfer last year. But my hope is that we are able to transfer some money. It's best practice, I think, to try to do that. We may not be able to do the maximum amount every year, but my goal would be that we would be able to transfer some.
So there's a limit that we can transfer.
Correct,
Okay.
correct, there's a limit. I put that on page, if you look at the second, the budget summary, right in the middle, right now, the DESI authorized transfer right now is $468,000, so that tells you. Now, there's some other ways that you can transfer, but generally, that's kind of the bucket that you look at. So we would be authorized to transfer that over. Again, we haven't always transferred. It's been hit or miss of what's happened. Sometimes they transfer a large amount, sometimes they transfer 100, and I don't have it right in front of me.
There's
but-
usually been a transfer every year, hasn't there? I didn't see many years in the past that we had a transfer.
Typically there are transfers. I'd have to go back, and if you were wanting me to give you historic data, I can't
Yeah.
speak on that exactly. But again, I think it's best practice to try to have a transfer. Now, school districts, post-COVID, you were seeing more often than not always a transfer because they had high fund balances in Capital 4, and so they had those funds. Similar to what we had. We got to a point where we had a couple $1 million in Fund 4. So again, I would say best practice would be that we would annually get that over there. And it also depends on what kind of projects we have, what we're trying to allocate for and kind of restrict for. If, for example, lease payments are always, lease payments, you always want to make sure you're trying to get that amount over there because that's where those funds would come from. Or it just depends. For example, if you receive I'm giving you an example, not just lease purchase. We had the lease purchase on the scoreboard. We had that for 5 years, and so we want to make sure that we are thinking about that transfer to cover that charge. So, I got long-winded, so if I can answer your question.
No, you did.
Okay.
That's good. What would you? I mean, you surely have somewhere where you like to set, and that also where would you like to set there?
For Fund 4?
Yeah.
So for me, I think close to $1 million is a goal. It's a good goal.
Okay.
That would be my goal. Now that's arbitrary for me to tell you that. I think it has a lot to do with kind of what what is the district moving toward? Do they have any projects that they're trying to, if you go back, we've seen some years where there's been fund balances in Fund 4 as low as a couple $100,000.
Yeah.
As long as it fits as long as it fits the planning of the Board of Education, then I'm okay with it. But if we're just talking about a general rule of thumb, if it's in and around that $1 million, I think that's a pretty healthy space. But
Take care
again,
of anything.
to take care of anything. But again, if we go back, I can tell you, and I only probably give you about 4 or 5 years on this here. There's been years where there's been a balance or a budget in Fund 4 of a couple $100,000.
When we pay our extra money off, like, that's where it comes out of also, right? Like, we paid that extra 200,000 this year,
Extra for
or what was it on, we paid down?
Oh, for the like the defeasance?
Yeah,
the
that
defeasance.
comes out of that.
No, that's going to be all of that is going to be all of that is managed out of Fund 3.
That's out of 3,
That's all
okay,
Fund 3.
okay.
Yep.
All right.
So
I'd make a motion to approve the budget amendment as presented.
Second.
Any other questions? Those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Reports to the board, student liaison.
she is. She's back to the normal.
I was locked in and I was studying.
Okay. Report. HOSA completed their blood drive with 58 successful donors, which is the most in a single blood drive that we've ever gotten since Gunter taken over, I think. HHS phlebotomy has also started venipunctures with butterfly needles, and we are there from 12:17 to 3:10, so you can come in and I'll stick you, because you're gonna miss my face so much. NHS collected and donated 150 toys to St. Louis Children's Hospital. Students and community betterment also supported the community by helping with the Dawn Tottenham Walk/Run. Building trades have been working on their home, which is a 3-bed, 2-bath. Reese Wilson was named our November Student of the Month. And then the Wednesday before Thanksgiving break, our cafeteria staff worked hard to put together the annual Thanksgiving dinner for students. And I just want to say how much I appreciate them. They do a great job, and if you've ever been in that kitchen, it's quite chaotic, but I love it. It's a great time. It's a fun place to be. Huge shout out to Zoe Sutton and Sylvia Hayes as they put on a Thanksgiving dinner for free to the community as their FCCLA service project. Eli Newsom, a welding senior, participated at MSU West Plains welding competition and placed second in receiving a $750 scholarship and a $250 cash prize. That's all I got.
Good luck on.
I know, all done.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any complaints, sorry.
I want to thank the First Baptist Church. They provide lunch to our staff every year. They do a big baked potato bar, and they've done it for several years now, and it's just something that we really enjoy. Our staff just really loves it, so I just want to give a shout out to them for doing that for us every year. Scouting America was here last month. They visited our students during lunchtime, so they were able to talk to all of our kiddos for our 3 lunch shifts, and then that evening they had a family meeting, and we actually signed up 25 kids for the future Houston troop, which is fantastic. So really good numbers there. Our first graders got to visit the library. Ms. Gulick is going to take the rest of our building through the month of January and part of February. We're going to take each grade level at a time. We just want to encourage that relationship, help our students understand how important it is to read, know about the library, hopefully get a library card, and take advantage of our new facility in town. We've been busy at the elementary school with our winter assessments. We're not quite finished. Hopefully we'll finish up this week. We might roll over a little bit into next week, but I should be able to have that data for you at the next meeting. Ms. Noransich, our PAT educator, has been really busy. Her numbers at the end of this month should get very close to where we actually ended the year last year. So she's been really working hard and reaching out to families, and she does a great job. So I can't believe that it's already time to start talking about kindergarten and preschool screenings. But we will start that in January, and we'll start with our kids who are currently enrolled in our program, and then as soon as we finish them up, we will open that up to the community and get everybody else taken care of. Our current enrollment, we're sitting at 459. This time last year, we were at 457, so we're holding steady there. We've got some upcoming events. Our staff Christmas party is tomorrow. Our 4th and 5th grade Christmas program is on Thursday. And like I mentioned last month, you guys are all welcome to the Christmas parties on the last day of school from 1:15 to 2 o'clock. Always a good time.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you.
We're holding steady at 202 for our attendance overall. I know Mr. Rawlings' report here on this school counseling one says 196, but considering all the enrolled, so whether seated or not. But our proportional attendance, we're at 94.7%. Our discipline is listed there. Lots of things going on, as I mentioned before, on school counseling and the FCA. We appreciate that they've extended that to the middle school group, and they seem to be enjoying that as well. Our student of the month, they're playing ball tonight, so I want to recognize Brody Taylor and Cassie Shelton. Our girls basketball record is on there as well as our boys, and they've had a couple extra games since then. And our big event for last week was our middle school Winter Wonderland dance, and we had about 100 some students that attended, and we made a mess, and we had a really, really good time. So it's fun to see the kids get all dressed up and just really enjoy themselves outside of it.
There's a lot of very pretty dresses. When they work with
Thank
the school 24/7, it's kind of not the same as in other
Yep, it's a little bit different than their pajamas. But, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Some more things to highlight. Addison did a great job highlighting several things, but as you know, high school is very busy, so there's more. Our winter sports is in full swing. Actually, our boys are in Seymour tonight, and our girls had their first home game last night. They unfortunately fell to licking, and they had a decent crowd. It was a good crowd last night. They ended up playing for third in the Fordland tournament last week. They lost a door in that game and took home fourth place, but it was great showing for our girls for that tournament. Our football boys, all conference, all SEA honors were released recently. We had several of our boys on the first team, second team, and honorable mention. In cross country, congratulations to two of our runners, Lily Kincaid and Natalie Clinton, for signing to run at the next level at Crowder College. It was a big accomplishment. I'm sure we'll see more of that as the months tick away for our seniors. The Ozark Radio Network, this is an addition, it's not in there, but it just happened Sunday evening, but the Ozark Radio Network All-Star Athletic Banquet, and they do this every year. They held their annual banquet Sunday evening, and that's where they have 11 school districts in their network, and they asked the football coach and the volleyball coach to bring 2 athletes to the banquet. And so Mrs. Sloan took Grayson McNeil and Kayla Wagner, and Mr. Sloan took DJ Riley and Mason Dotson to that banquet. We want to thank Ozark Radio Network for putting that on for our athletes. It was a really nice evening. Our FFA, I want to highlight what they're doing. They have recently, with the help of Ms. Steelman, completed at least one grant application. Maybe I think they were looking at some more resources possibly. They have a vision, they have a plan to implement an outdoor garden area over by the greenhouse so that they can utilize that area, not just the greenhouse, but they can have that outdoor space as well. And so they have a drawing with some planters and different things and some leveling that they'll have to do. They've got a cost estimate, and they also this year they have an organization called Friends of FFA. Some of you may be a part of that or have heard of that. That group is helping with this project as well and helping them try to reach out to find some more resources. So that will be, hopefully you'll see that in the future. We'll be able to get that off the ground, but Thank you, Friends of FFA for their work on that with our FFA and our ag teachers. Our Special Olympics recently went to Springfield for a bowling competition. We had several return with medals. That's always a good time. I did want to bring your attention to the celebration that we officially received our certificate from the U.S. Department of Labor for our very first registered youth apprentice. And I want to give Mrs. Steelman a big shout out. She did all that leg work involved in that, and there are several hoops you have to jump through, but it's a big push in our state, but not very many schools are taking advantage of that yet. And so we are thrilled that we have at least one in our district. And as you know, you guys approved her as an employee. So we are not only proud that we have a student that's a RYA, but our district is the employer of that student. So it's helping us in different capacities. So we're excited about that and the future of seeing that program grow as well. We had a big celebration. Obviously, I know Dr. Copley's probably going to touch more on that, but we moved our classes into phase 1 of PRTC. So both ag rooms, welding, and business were able to make that big move. And I don't know if you know this, but one celebration for that business classroom is they're getting all brand new computers as well, thanks to some of the enhancement grant funding and then you guys supporting that local match. But so those are getting installed this week, and obviously, like anytime you move, it takes a minute to get settled, but it's pretty rewarding to walk in those classrooms and see them teaching and kids learning and thriving already in those new spaces. So thank you for all your support in that process. Speaking of great support, our auto technology program, as you know, we have a sponsorship going right now for that. The Dwayne Reese family donated $10,000. We want to give them a huge shout out, as well as the IDA, and I failed to include that on your report, but the IDA gave an additional $10,000, and our A1 shredding donated $500. We sent packets to all of our businesses that we use as a district, and so thanks to Mrs. York for helping get those mailings out. But that $500 was a result of that mailing, so we want to thank them for their support. And then you have a list of all the things that's happening the rest of this month. There was one change on December 14th on that Sunday. I had listed on there that the band concert would be in front of the choir concert, but band has now decided they're moving theirs to January. So don't show up at 2 for the band concert, show up at 4 for choir. Do you have any questions? All right, thank you.
Bless you.
Director report. MSBA?
Just a reminder, we didn't have but one essay, so we don't have to judge those. That person will automatically be entered, so for the MSBA essay competition.
All right, just a couple highlights. We did receive just today, it's not a small grant from Harbor Freight toward our auto program, which was $100. So we're still plugging away at sponsorships. I just wanted to recognize our Teacher Proud Tuesday for the month. We kind of rotate through those each month. And Ms. Hart was recognized. I think the video aired today, maybe. And so that Miss York and all that crew, Mr. York, not Miss York, yeah. Mr. York. They do a great job on that, but congratulations to Mrs. Hart in the high school this month. Mrs. Munson already covered the classrooms moving in, and also I just wanted to highlight we had a lot of folks on our campus last week with Career Day. A lot of alumni, a lot of business folks, a lot of people, and there's a lot of things that go into that. And I just wanted to thank Ms. Folk and Mrs. Shelton, Ms. Munson for bringing that opportunity to our kids. It's a really good opportunity for our kids just to be really potentially inspired that day. I know just a personal experience as my son came home that day and said, I know what I want to be. I'm like, let's think about this for 50 seconds. So I just wanted to thank your staff for putting it on. It's a great experience, and we love having alumni. Any opportunity to bring those guys back, we really love that. So thank you for that. I was going to highlight the middle school winter dance. There were a ton of kids, but I have begged Mrs. Hughes to only do one of those per year. So only one per year. And then at the elementary, just a gratitude challenge winner to Brooksland Hunter. Mrs. Richardson is doing that, and so that's been great. Just a couple odd and ends. Official filing started today. We have 2 people that officially filed as of leaving the office this afternoon. Dustin Hartman and Darren Ice officially filed. Our building trades house, I just wanted to highlight that.
Sorry.
Did you now get what I was?
Yes.
Okay. Building trades, as Addison mentioned, they're over there in Chestnut. Drive by sometime. Trusses went up today, so it's looking like a house. And so they are making good headway, and they're going to get dried in before winter comes, and so that's going to be great. And so they're going to just chug right along. So we're excited about that. And really just overly excited about just the kind of the economic development piece is bringing those houses into the city. So really excited about what the building trades program is doing. Just a quick update on the track and field. We did have another meeting with Geosurfaces to talk a little bit about maybe what we were hoping within our budget. We talked about that our bond is 2.95 and potentially and roughly what we were thinking we were going to be able to earmark for the track. And so I think we have one more meeting, and I'm hoping to come back in January to definitively say that here there's no option for this, or there is an option here, and here's what it is. We have, the next time we meet, I've invited our subcommittee members, and really anyone can be a part of that. Obviously, if we get more than 4, we have a quorum, so that's probably something we don't need to do. But again, I want to keep you guys involved in the process so that we can give ourselves the best possible chance of successful bond in April. And so, not a lot more to share than that tonight, but I'm hopeful for a deeper debrief in January. For Lag 1, again, that's completed. Lag 2, the limited access grant phase 2, they're pouring the floor. I think they were getting the first layer of the floor done. Sheetrock, paint, all of that's done. So they are chugging along on that second phase. What we call kind of phase 3 is kind of into the auto classroom, and so that is taking shape too. And so just good progress. We have a video that we are trying to kind of wait to air. We want our public to know kind of what the progress is, and we're just trying to wait till that floor gets done because it just makes it look a lot more finished. And so we're hopeful to get that aired out soon, just for folks to see. And then, of course, I would just tell anyone, if you guys are driving by and you just want to peek at it, just stop in and we'd love to show it off. But I know that I've visited with Ms. Munson. We're going to have kind of a ribbon cutting open house type of an event as we get a little bit closer to finishing. As far as an update for Durham moving out, we're still scheduled for Durham to move out. Visited several times with their plant manager this week. The only thing I wanted to add is they are going to have everything out potentially but one piece of equipment. There's one piece of equipment that has to be moved, and they're thinking the second week of January. Again, I think that's acceptable, and we'll be able to appropriately continue to plan and move forward with our project. They are going to provide us with a letter of donation. There are several items that they would like to donate, and so once I get that, because it's capital, because it's the big items, you guys will need to approve that in January, but I think at least one of them is that big air compressor that's in there that feeds the overhead lines. They would like to donate to the school. So again, I'll send that to you in advance, but that will be something we'll need to approve in January. But other than that, they are starting to starting to move that way.
Are they going to use the ramp on it?
So they had they are going to be able to, he assured me they had to use a different company, but they are going to be able to get it out. So I just have to trust that I'm probably not going to be there watching.
Right.
But he assured me that they'd have, I think, a secondary company come in and look at it to get it out. But I think that's what the delay is, to the second week of January. Talk about that. I just our principals talked about the BSIP. I just wanted to highlight, we had our CSIP meeting. It was a really good meeting. We spent the majority of our time talking about a district-wide academic goal. We've just presented our APR to you guys, and we talked a lot about growth and a lot about status. But there was a lot of conversations and good direction in terms of adding a new goal to our CSIP that specifically addresses some of the academic needs in our district. And so Mrs. Steelman is the team leader of that goal. And so I would say within the next month or so, you will see a presentation for an addition to the CSIP, specifically regarding academic achievement. So a lot of good conversation. Of course, you guys are always invited to our CSIP meetings that happen quarterly. I was really happy with the outcome of this one. About that. Still interviewing exceptional child director positions. I just kind of wanted to make everyone aware. Still interviewing that we are going to keep that open with maybe a potential hire maybe after the new year. Just a quick update on our auto technology fundraising. Right now, we're at $33,642 of total fundraising. We are slowly starting to receive some. I don't think we're done there, and so we're going to keep that effort going for now, at least through the new year, and see where we land. Again, I think we're going to keep chipping away at it. I think the letters out were helpful, but it's got to be the right time for folks, and so we're going to be patient and keep try to make a case for that effort. Other than that, I don't have any other updates. I'd be glad to field any questions that you guys may have.
All right, are there any patron comments? Set the next board meeting?
I move we set the next board meeting for January 13th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. here in the library meeting center. Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
How was your fundraising effort?